Question 1. In what ways does your media product use, develop, or challenge forms and conventions of real media products?
Okay, a close-up of a face or an extreme close-up of an eye can display an effect of an action or the suspense building up, and of course they also provide detail.
And they're also used in horror thrillers to display the characters' reactions that suggest their feelings or emotions in specific scenes, like a very important scene. Such reactions include horror, shock, fear, and that aids the audience's connection with the characters.
And this is also used at the end of our opening sequence with the close-up of our female character, just a face of her turning. And we follow this convention in order to display the attention in our character's face, highlighting her emotions. But it was also especially designed to intimidate our audience as the character stared at the camera.
Exactly. And the fact that this shot was also even or level with the audience's viewpoint, so it was straight head on, intensified the intimidation that we intended, and it provoked suspense with a suggested negative event or threat for the male character through this build-up, that was going to happen. Also, mid shots of the characters walking towards the camera, which is a convention in Hot Fuzz, prolongs the tension and the build up to seeing the details of the character, their face, their body, all that stuff.
We have used this in our production through showing the female moving towards the camera in the middle, in the middle. No, in the middle of our opening sequence.
Oh, yeah,
it was slightly.
In the middle.
Yeah, slightly in the middle, and this makes the audience think about whom she is and why are we showing a close up of her face. But also may be intimidating for the audience through this slightly low angle.
Yeah, and that gives her more authority and power over the audience, so it's that intimidation thing again.
And the pan can generate a sense of a pace, especially with a chase, or can give a character supernatural speed. The example is used in Negotiator.
Yeah, the Negotiator got it. So we followed this convention and developed it through panning females in crowds to make an audience wonder who the girl is in distress in our radio report is. Wondering who she is.
Yeah.
In horror thrillers, establishing shots commonly involve a gritty location with a lack of light, implying that something's wrong, negative, darkness, that kind of thing. The pathetic fallacy suggests that.
Yeah, we have used this in our location, which is the alleyway that there is less light in and no one is around.
Yeah.
Which suggests that something negative is going to happen.
Yeah. Okay, and then the handheld point of view shot can help an audience connect and feel what a character's feeling, see what they're going through, and this involves the audience in the character's situation.
Yeah, however, the films that we researched, like The Negotiator and The Clearing, don't use a point of view shot in the opening sequence, but they use it during the film, and this is often used to make a scene more intense and thrilling. A non-diegetic heartbeat sound effect can be added and used to intensify the shot.
Yeah, or like breathing. It's like the pace and and so we followed this convention of using a handheld point of view shot in order to make a better connection with the audience and make them feel what the character's feeling. In this case, it's the male's point of view. His point of view also suggests through the blurred editing that he's drunk. Not necessarily that the audience are drunk while they're watching it, but
and this can also allow our audience to relate to him as they're young, and they will want to look up to him.
And with the alcohol and all that kind of stuff, it's something that's quite it's in the younger generation nowadays,
not us,
No, not us. Yeah.
A camera angle such as low angle is used to give the antagonist more power over the victim, so like a high angle shot.
And we've also used this convention as the female character walks towards the camera, like in Hot Fuzz, similar. Tension. And the women stereotyped as weak and less important in examples. The Clearing through a high angle.
Yeah, and we have broke this convention and made the male be the less important one and the weaker one than the female. So we made the female, the female in our production is seen for a mid shot of
walking
towards the camera, like you said, in a slightly low angle, and the close up of her face also suggests that it's suggested through the shot to be more powerful, whereas the male is suggested to be vulnerable through his blurred point of view
and drunkenness.
Yeah.
Okay, editing techniques.
Oh, and the editing. We used quick cuts which controls pace level. Can also increase it to evoke a sense of time limit and pressure or haste, and this is used in the negotiator and the clearing.
And it can also make it seem spontaneous as events happen quickly, and it unravels the narrative.
So how we follow this is by having fast-paced cuts in order to maintain our audience's interest and give a sense of intimacy to our immediacy, yeah, like to our opening sequence.
And merging with the seriousness of the radio report, this will make the audience want to find out what is going to happen in the next bit of our film and stuff, and what the story behind the characters is, and that kind of thing. Also, another editing convention is a slow motion effect, which can create a distorted or unnatural atmosphere, possibly to focus upon a character, the idea of maybe a character being sinister, particularly a villain, that kind of thing.
And this can the slow down action in chase even more suspense, and we have so that's it. The way we have used it is to make the ghost scene but slowly disappearing when there is a slow motion of crowds walking by.
And we've slowed the clip down in order to help the audience register the female character in the shot, and that merges with the radio report description. The ghost being in the middle shows the audience that she's the important one in the clip. You know, she's to be focused on. So they know who the character is. Like, they can get that connection with the radio report.
Yeah, and another convention was the darkly lit effect on shots. So that suggests evil presence or something not quite right or unusual.
Yeah, and this convention was used in our production on the mid shot of the skull T-shirt to connote a dark or sinister presence. So we made it
especially after having seen the female character in the previous shot that faded in.
So that merges with it, the connotations of the darkness, and especially through the editing, because you can do that. And, you know.
You did it.
Yeah, I know. But
another convention would be fade to black. Yes. Which leaves the audience to make up their own mind of the ending.
And we haven't followed this convention because instead we used a close-up of the female character's face at the end of our opening sequence, as you've probably seen. And we left her face as the last image, so the side of her face, to create that tension and suspense in the audience and make them kind of want to keep watching.
But also this acts as a narrative hook for the audience, which will make them want to carry on watching and see the next part of the film once it's created.
But the use of the radio report is like just a general radio report as a convention is used to inform an audience about events happening in the film in the opening sequence, and that's used in Passenger 57, although they've had like in that movie they've got loads of radio reports and snippets to help the audience get a big picture of, you know, what's happening in the beginning.
Yeah, and we have used this by having a news or radio report in order to introduce our female character during our opening sequence through the edited clips in the
report. And the opening titles and the films that we've researched
would be like Universal, 20th Century Fox,
and stuff like that. And we've used Miramax and Film 4 in order to show who would be distributors or the intended distributors for our media product.
However, we have used our own non-diegetic sounds to fit with our genre and create a sense of suspense, as we want to make the opening unique and different.
And now sounds. Fast-paced, non-diegetic rhythm replicates the heartbeat, that kind of thing, which can create tension, and that's in Murder by Numbers.
Yeah, I've seen that. And we have used this in order to build up tension for the audience and make them want to carry on watching to see what happens next. Another sound that we have used or are used in thrillers are the out-of-tune violins, which is unusual and eerie, creates suspense, also used in Murder by Numbers, and the violins use of string instrumentals to seem eerie.
Yeah, and we use this convention in the beginning of our opening sequence, during the train sequence when the train's coming in, the long shot and the following shots, to create tension and suggest an evil or dark presence in this normal or realistic setting.
Yeah, but it can also suggest, that sound that we used, it can also suggest that you can also say that someone is going to come out of the train and is going to kill someone. You can make different suggestions.
Suggestions and interpretations, and I think that's the beauty of what we've done is we're allowing the audience to make their own interpretation
and then make up their own story to what we've done.
And because we haven't revealed everything about our characters, we've used the radio report, but that's not the whole story. So it's I don't know, it's just really intriguing the audience. So the sound, the clips, and everything bring it all together.
Yeah, going back to sound, the heavy breathing, which makes it creepy and intense, and it's enclosed or makes it trapped.
Yeah, makes the audience feel that. Yeah, and we've also used this convention by using non-diegetic breathing during our production title Lookout Productions as the tissue blows away.
It's hard.
That was hard. To recreate an intense atmosphere.
What about the mise en scène we've done?
Yeah, well, the mise en scène concerning makeup, it may involve burns, scratches, or bruising to either make an audience want to know why a character is hurt. That's done in the negotiator with the victims of the man who's got the gun. We followed this convention by making the ghost have bruises and some blood on her top and rips to imply or suggest violence in our piece.
Yeah, you see in The Ring. Right. We have the nightgown, which is a quite conventional gothic approach to a ghost.
Yeah.
And we develop on the clothes of the ghost. Instead of having her to wear dresses or any other gowns or anything, she wears jeans and a white top to make her seem like she's a normal teenager or contemporary person.
Villain.
Yeah. Ghost is not typically identified as villain, but can
be disguised and
be disguised as a victim by blooded and ripped clothing. So the blooded clothing and the ripped, dirty or gritty makeup, which will make the audience intrigued to the character and the mystery.
Yeah, the mystery of who they are. And we followed this in order to make the audience wonder what has happened to her and who is the person that has done this suggested or implied violence to her.
Yeah, I agree.
And concerning pathetic fallacy, another element of mise en scène. Rain is generally a negative negative aspect that can suggest darkness and that kind of thing, and reflects the expectations and mood of the film, that something bad may happen, in films such as The Clearing, it starts with equilibrium by there being a nice sunny scene, and then it gets darker,
and then it turns into this really not nice atmosphere.
And concerning equilibrium, like Todorov, and then there's always a disequilibrium after swiftly turn into
in our product. The weather was not that great as it was raining, but it actually matched the narrative as something negative happens during darkness and rainy days.
Yeah,
it suggested it happen, right?
Yeah. And darkness usually symbolises danger, and that's when crimes are suggested to happen at night, in films and stuff, not necessarily in real life.
And we have followed these conventions as the whole scene with the interaction between both of the characters happened during nighttime.
Yeah, and it's also secluded in the alleyway, so that's also that seclusion in the alleyway from the busyness that we've just shown.
And the empty alleyway, yeah.
Highlights it and helps the audience register that something negative is going to happen, as well as the pathetic fallacy, the music, everything. Lightness symbolises safety as well, like I was saying in the clearing.
Yeah, and we have used some of that lightness shots during daytime in order to show that the coast is just everywhere around where people are, even if it's daytime or nighttime.
Yeah, so it's to highlight that you're never safe. It doesn't matter if it's a bright, shining day, there's still danger.
That's true.
But yeah.